Now recording. Well, there goes our usual Craig. Anyways, welcome back to the TnS podcast, Popcorn Scotty podcast or mini cast. We're 2 weeks late as usual, which makes us technically on time, because Anyways,
It's not my fault that I don't want to do these. This is a cry for help. Also, hello, this is me, Scotty, and yes, we are 2 weeks late. Hi.
Yes, I do have Scotty over here hostage, and yeah, that's his cry for help, but alas, he's not going to get any.
I don't know what he's talking about. This is not a cry for help. I'm blinking twice.
He's gonna give like a Morse code message out, like in the Vietnam War.
Speaking of Vietnam War, this is a wonderful transition, actually. Let's talk about video games. All right, Taco, you take it away.
Okay. So we're going to first talk about Ubisoft Forward showcase, just the major games that they announced, their AAA titles. So we're going to start off with Far Cry 6. So what do you think about this, Scotty?
I think that poor little kid has a terrible father figure who just straight up gave him a live grenade to carry. Wonderful reveal trailer. I really like that. It was it's just one of those trailers that really keep you like engaged even though nothing is happening. Or not that nothing was happening, but like, ultimately throughout most of that reveal trailer they're just walking down a hall. And throughout all of it, you're just really paying attention to what's going on, and it seems like a really great setting. It's a setting that I think Tropico has had a monopoly on for too long. So let's get some FPS action into that setting.
Like, what was I don't know the actor's name. I'm actually just not good at names in general, but what's his name? Gus from Breaking Bad. He's like the main bad guy apparently in that. And I believe it takes place in Cuba, right, Scotty?
One of those places, I'm sure. The ones.
But yeah, the trailer. Yeah, the trailer was really good. I'm liking the facial animation, the graphics. Obviously, it's probably going to be motion captured. But it was a very good trailer. No gameplay as of yet, but it looks pretty good. All right, let's segue on to Assassin's Creed Valhalla now. What did you think about this, Scotty?
What did I think about Assassin's Creed Valhalla? Take me to Valhalla. Let's see. Once again, another neat historical set piece for people that are really into Assassin's Creed, for them to like go on through. I have yet to play most of the Assassin's Creed games at this point. Every year, it's just harder and harder to catch up. But ever since they had kind of like their reboot, starting from the Egypt one, which one was that one again? Assassin's Creed
Origins.
I could tell that that's kind of like where you start from at this point, like with this whole new like gameplay style that they're kind of going with here. So I guess technically at this point this would be the third in that sort of series. So I guess it's kind of easy to catch up at that point. But Valhalla's looking good. I remember hearing this. I remember hearing somebody point this out, and once I looked at it as well, I thought this was very silly. Where you're pillaging little villages across the across the oceans and stuff, and you're in your little ship and you're going up to a village, and everyone is chill in the village. Everyone's walking around, they're doing their clothes or whatever, they're washing things and all that, and all of a sudden, you finally like crash your ship onto the beach, and everyone is still chill. They're just minding their business. You get out of the boat, your feet hit the water, and everyone's like, "Oh wow, the birds! Wow." The second your foot starts to hit sand, that's when everyone's like, "Oh my god, oh!" Everyone's going like, "Oh my god, we're getting pillaged." So it would be neat if you saw them kind of like react a bit earlier than that, that would be cool. But yeah, other than that, I mean, the game looks just like a typical Assassin's Creed game.
Yeah, yeah. The thing about Vikings is that they were so good at, being shock troopers in landing
Mm-hmm.
and pillaging. Then when you describe that, it does seem very weird that that happens, because usually when you see like a longboat from like a mile away, you're with some sort of whatever tool that they use at that time during the Dark
Mm-hmm.
Ages. People would panic, people would scatter, especially when you're in a small town and the only people you have to defend with that are just a group of guys with pitchforks. But the way you described it seems really the immersion breaking. That's the word.
Well, you don't notice it until you really put like a magnifying lens on that.
Mm,
But still, I just thought it was funny to see.
mm. The main criticism that I heard, there were two of them for that game. Was the first one was they're like, oh, this is not Assassin's Creed. There's not too much stealth going on around. It's not about being incognito anymore, but rather building your own legend or building your own reputation per se.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, I'm okay with that, right? I like that. I like to have your protagonist have a character to be built and worked with. I mean, granted, the rest of the Assassin's Creed, especially the ones that took place, Assassin's Creed 1, 2, 3, Black Flag, they had their own characters as well with their character development. But how should I say this? The way they made it so that you are less incognito, but more trying to make a the gameplay. Okay, the part of the gameplay is to make a name for yourself. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so that works well for me. And and another criticism was that the game was too gray. It's like, well, what'd you expect? It take, the Britain on Isle of Britain, and we know that England, or not England at that time, I think it was like Saxony or something, was was very swampy and very
Pretty
foggy.
gray.
So, and yeah, pretty gray. That's like saying, oh, California is too orange.
Yeah,
But
no, I look at Origins and I look at Odyssey, and those are very colorful games. And then you look at this one, and they toned it down a little. But
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
sure they recognize it. I'm sure there will be some set pieces that are pretty mystical.
yeah,
I don't know who's to say that, like, based off of like some of the things they've done with the previous games, where you have like giant mythical things that you're fighting at times. You just
mhm.
say like you get near Stonehenge and then it starts to light up. Like, I don't know, something weird like that.
Yeah. I that Stonehenge looked pretty awesome though. Like you just
Yeah, it did.
the Stonehenge was did that was pretty awesome. But yeah, I love The Witcher, and The Witcher. There were parts that were pretty gray in that game, and I like that. It just, to me, it just seemed more eerie and more gritty to me. So that's not a main concern for me, you know.
Mhm.
What about you, Scotty? Do you have any main concerns with Valhalla, or I mean, you're just gonna, are you okay with what you have?
Uh no concerns really, because I've been so out of the series since like
Right.
3, and yeah, I just don't know what it is that I have to catch up on. So I'm not sure what criticisms I would have had were I still in this series. So far, it personally just looks like, well, that just looks like Assassin's Creed, you know, and it doesn't look crazy in a bad way. It looks like all the crazy stuff happened with Origins, in my opinion. Like, they were really shaking up that series. They really tried making it fresh and new again, and so now they're working off of all the new things they established with that title.
Mm,
And I guess they're just going on with this one. So
right, right. Yeah, I'm cautiously optimistic for Valhalla. The last one I did play was Black Flag, but before Black Flag, I played Odyssey. So um, there's that. I don't know what I'm going to do with it. I might actually just wait a little bit out when it comes out before I actually make any decision. So there's
Mhm.
that. The next thing on the lineup for the Ubisoft Forward showcase, we got Watch Dogs Legion. And I'm going to start off the bat for this, being the half British and English and half Japanese myself. The London looks great. That's just probably the only thing that looks great to me within the game. I've tried Watch Dogs, the very first one. It never really stuck with me. Who knows? Maybe this one might be different. I did see the gameplay. The gameplay just feels like another checklist type of game, if you know what I mean, Scotty.
Yeah.
Yeah, it feels a lot like that, especially how they also added how would I say it, like multiple people. It's like when one person dies and it goes to like the next succession or something. It kind of reminds me a little bit about GTA 5, right? Remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course I remember that. It's coming out on freaking next gen consoles for like the second time. Christ.
Yeah. Yeah.
Remember
But
that
London
game
was
that came out in 2012? 8 years
that
ago, and it's
remember that
still
game
relevant today somehow?
remember that game that came out in 2011 on
Oh my
November
god.
11th with 8 different re-releases, the game that, takes place in, almost Valhalla.
Hey, that was a good Valhalla section. Skyrim spoilers for those who haven't played it on their smart fridge at this point. But
Smart.
yeah, that was a good rendition of Valhalla. Like that stuck with me for some reason.
Oh
I
yeah,
just thought it was a very memorable setting. That one.
Sovereign Guard, yeah.
Yeah.
But back to Watch Dogs. The only thing that did really take away from me, that I took away from that was London looks great. I've been to London a little bit too many times. I saw the Westminster Bridge. I saw the Westminster Whitechapel, the London Eye, and they went all the way to Waterloo Bridge, and then there's the Thames River. I'm like that you can't do any better than that unless you have like the actual stores that are there, but obviously copyright issues. I remember I was watching a small gameplay video of it, and this one guy was like, "I think that's a McDonald's over there." Yeah, that's definitely McDonald's, and that should be a Cafe Nero over there. But yeah,
Wow,
that's really
Taco.
cool.
You're so worldly and
I'm so
hunky.
worldly.
Wow.
Oh, oh. All right. So what did you think of, Scotty?
So it's weird that we've talked about these three Ubisoft games, and like of all of them, it seems like Watch Dogs is the more like kind of bland of the three in a way for you.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, honestly, I think this is the one I would probably pick up before any of the other two.
Mm-hmm.
I like it when a video game, or like I like it when a series starts to become more video gamey, because it kind of feels like it's looking at itself and going, you know what, screw it. Let's just be more video gamey. In this sense, the whole video gamey thing would be, oh, you can play as just any of these characters. It doesn't matter. Like, you want to be the old lady, you want to be the construction dude, you want to infiltrate, you want to go from within. Like, all of that to me is like, cool. You're not trying to be like some gritty, realistic, moody sort of thing. It's just like, oh, you can go nuts, And so, for me,
Okay.
this is going nuts. For me, this is like I'm already thinking of like ways of how I want to play the game. For example, I would totally want to make like a team of only old people. That would be awesome. Old people representation in video games is at an all-time low. I hope this game turns it around. I want to be the old lady. I want to kick ass as the old lady. I like this game. Like you said, the best looking thing about it would be the city. And that's pretty much it when it comes to like the visuals. But I don't know. There's just something about playing as like a kooky group of weird mishmash people.
Right.
I think it'll be one of the more like humorous games.
Kind of reminds you of Left 4 Dead, huh?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
It's just a mishmash of different people that are just like, well, I guess we're all a team now, and we'll try to get along.
Mm-hmm. Or you can have like a whole team of just like old people and call it Team Boomer or something.
Oh man, heck yeah.
Yeah. The boomers finally got it. They got technology. All right. All right, now that's it for the Ubisoft Forward showcase. I mean, granted, there were a lot more games that they showed, but we're just going to talk about the AAAs. Moving forward to Microsoft's announcement. Now, before we do dwell into the games that they have announced, I just want to ask Scotty over here, what did you think of the overall showcase? Like, what is your opinion? Was it positive or was it negative?
Okay, well, whenever I enter a Microsoft conference at this point, I always think about how are they going to make me really react this time around? Because for some weird reason, for the past couple of Microsoft events, they just throw in a game or like just something in there, like out of the blue, that makes me go, "Oh my god, I can't believe blank is here," or "I can't believe they're doing this," that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's almost without fail at this point. And this time around, they did the same exact thing. I'll leave it up to you at the end to figure out which of them it was, which game it was.
Okay.
So I'll leave it up to you. I'll remind you about it. But until then, I just wanted to mention that as I was watching it, overall it was good.
Okay.
But looking back on it after everyone is giving out their like 2 cents and everything, I'm thinking back and going like, yeah, man, those brutes look horrible. Those brutes did not look great, and I don't know.
That's the thing
we'll
about it,
get
isn't
to
it?
it.
Like, yeah, that's the thing about it, isn't it? When you do see other people's collective opinions, then you tend to see what they say when you go back and watch it. Like that's just like it is what it is, but it just also kind of just takes away the experience that you had, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so we'll talk about the first game that they did show. Granted, alrighty. So we're going to talk about Forza. It was a small or very short trailer, and I was actually very excited. Before we do get in a little bit more into detail, this list that we do have compiled up for the Microsoft announcements is very biased because we are only talking about AAA titles and anything that are not AAA. We are going to be talking about games that only grab our attention or that we were anticipated for. So there's that. So back to Forza. Forza looks good. I do like Forza. I'm never a racing game guy, with the exception was Forza. And I was very invested in 3 back in
3 was great.
Yeah.
4 was incredible, but
Uh-huh.
3 was really where it started to hit its stride.
It did. It really did. And I think what really got me engaged into Forza 3 was that the incredible minute customizations you can do to every single vehicle that you had. I think that was the selling point for me for that game. But the game
It's
does
what
look
set it
nice.
apart initially. Like you would look at all the other big racing game series at the time, and they didn't offer what this offered. And what this offered was like a perfect balance of simulation and arcade. If you wanted to be more simulation, you could do that. If you wanted to be more arcade, you could do that.
Yeah.
And tying it all together was like the community. So you would have
That's right. That's when the
yeah,
community kicked off, right?
yep. And so you would, and they really embraced it. Like in 2, there was a community and there were people. Like Japan ate it up at the time.
They did. With the vinyls and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, they ate that up, and then Turn 10 looked at that and said, "Hey, let's make it even easier for people to just share everything," and that's what they started to do. It's only just now with GT Sport that they finally started to embrace that sort of thing. So again, like we're talking about Forza 2 that came out 2006.
Forza 2, that was like for the original Xbox, right?
No, Forza 2 was a 360 title, I believe.
It was 2007. You're right.
Yeah, okay, so we're talking about 2007, and it took this long for their biggest like rival to finally catch up when it came to, at the very least, the community aspect. And it's a great series for people to like jump into. If people were ever put off by simulation racing games, there is fun. Believe it or not, there is some fun in those titles, and Forza has always been great at making sure you took things at your own pace.
Okay. Yeah.
Sorry, but I do want to talk about this title. it seems like it's like a soft reboot or something. There's no number next to it. There's no Forza 8 or anything.
Yeah, it's just Forza Motorsport. That's it.
Yeah. Whatever. Like, once the numbers get that high, if you're not Final Fantasy, then I guess it's fine. Yeah, I guess it's fine if you're not Final Fantasy to just say, this is just Forza Motorsport.
Yeah.
All it really needs to worry about is content. Like, it's really tough for Forza when they made the jump from 360 to Xbox One.
Yeah.
The tough part was having to acknowledge the fact that they had way less cars, way less tracks, way less everything. Because this was a whole new generation. It's hard to build off of what they had before. So I'm hoping that this time around, it's easier to kind of like push all this stuff from the last Forza Motorsport game on Xbox One to Series X and to make, it be like a beefy title that has a lot for you. That's my only concern, and that's it. I'm done talking about Forza.
No, I mean, it goes to show how much passion you have for the game. I definitely do like Forza. Like I said, the last one I played was 3, and 4 did come out on 360, right? Or was it that was Xbox One?
4 came out on 360.
Okay, because I did not get 4, and then I didn't even have an Xbox One, despite the fact that I'm a huge Halo fan. But we'll get into that a little bit later.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to segue on to the Outer Worlds DLC. I think it was called Peril on Gorgon, the new planet. Did you play Outer Worlds, Scotty? I mean, I know you like Outer Wilds, but
I was really hoping for some Outer Wilds DLC. What a bummer. But hey, here's a neat thing. Congrats to the Outer Wilds writer, who is actually doing the writing for this DLC for Outer Worlds.
Yes. Okay. No, that's a twist.
Yeah, it is very much a twist, and I do hope that they bring that charm of that Outer Wilds into Outer Worlds.
That just seems such like a freaking like dream team up kind of thing.
Yeah, no, they've definitely been pretty playful when it comes to the confusion between Outer Wilds and Outer Worlds. I believe one of the artists recently did like a logo swap of the two, so now things are even more confusing.
That's fucking awesome.
Yeah, but it's really cool. So I guess I could vouch for the writing in this DLC. I never got far into Outer Worlds. It was just one of those games where I felt good finally starting a game like that.
Okay.
And, I was really enjoying it up until you leave the first world and you're in this, like, kind of more of an enclosed sort of world. I forget what it's called. Yeah, sort of. And like, I don't know. I just dropped off. I don't know if it was because of games that were coming out or anything like that, but it would be cool to go back to it. But I think I would probably have to restart or something. I don't know.
Yeah. I also do have to restart on that game. I got pretty far into the game. I don't even remember where I am. That's the thing about Outer Worlds for some reason, is that you just don't, if you drop the game for like a week or two, you just don't even remember left off. I did like the trailer a lot. It reminded me of Super Friends, like the what is it? The Super Friends? Was it like the Super Friends? 4 heroes or 5 heroes come together and fight evil. Like the way the announcer was doing it, he was like, "You don't want to be on the end of this gun or this sword or this thing," and they just showed like this weird like chainsaw on a stick thing. I just like that type of like old. Like an old 60s, 70s American aesthetic just really appeals to me, especially to a foreigner like me. It was really cool. I'm definitely.
I don't mean to derail the conversation real quick, but you're talking about 60s and 70s American sort of thing. 60s around there, maybe 50s or 40s, probably 50s, 60s. Hey, Destroy All Humans is coming out tomorrow.
Ooh.
So everyone be sure to give that a look and a gander, because that is a neat little game.
That is a neat little game. And I remember their version of the X-Files guy were called like the Majestic M or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that. That was a good game. That was
Just
a good
throwing
game.
that out there, making sure everyone knows.
Mm.
But yeah, back to Outer Worlds DLC.
Yeah. Well, we'll make sure to cut that out. Nah, I'm just playing Scotty. Yeah, that's it for the Outer Worlds DLC. Looks nice. As Scotty said, the Outer Wilds writer is part of that, and we'll see what happens when it does release, and our thoughts and opinions. But all right, let's go on to Psychonauts 2. And since I'm not very well versed into this game, I'd like to segue to Scotty. What do you think?
Psychonauts 2 looks pretty psychedelic. Next.
Mm. That's it.
I mean, I also was not into Psychonauts. Not much else to say other than, hey, I like that Jack Black still has a very wonderful voice, and I could always rock out to some Jack Black music. So it's good to see. It's good to hear him here, and yeah, I hope he sticks around the video game industry. That's all I can really say. Sorry, not into Psychonauts.
All right. Yeah, unfortunately, we're not into Psychonauts. I thought Scotty was going to be into Psychonauts. That's why I just put it on the list over there. So, yeah, you seem like the type of guy that would be, but apparently not. All right, let's move on to Fable 4. Now, this one, I don't know how to give an opinion that is not very too constructive, but I was low-key very excited. I did play Fable 1, Fable 2. I did not play Fable 3, but I really, really liked Fable, the original Fable, and I believe that they also didn't they remake that game with some added content to it or something like that for the original Xbox, I believe. I forgot what it was called, but I really, really liked the original Fable. It really spoke to me. I remember the best thing I did in that game is that you could flick someone off and shoot lightning in your middle.
Oh, I do remember this, I think, yeah.
It was so good because you can do all these emotes to people and they actually react to it. So you can be like, "Oi!" and then you just throw up, you just flick the bird and just lightning comes out.
Yeah.
I remember it was so funny. Oh,
it's a wonderful series because it's it just has that something British about it with the humor.
Unapologetic.
Yeah, and it's just really neat because you don't see that too often.
Yeah.
You don't see Fable too often anymore,
Nope.
unfortunately. So yeah, I don't think this is Fable 4. I think this is just Fable. It's a reboot of
I believe
sorts,
I believe it was the title was Fable 4 that they showed on the Microsoft announcement thing.
Well, apart from the title, did you see what else they had on that title card? Like the developer. Did you see who the developer was?
No, I didn't. Why don't you enlighten me on it?
This is a title by Playground Games. Are you familiar with Playground Games?
No, I'm not familiar.
Playground Games makes the Forza Horizon series.
Oh, okay.
So this is going to be a very interesting product. We'll see what ends up happening when a bunch of racing dudes make a Fable game. Although I'm pretty sure, them being in England or around that area, they very much are fans and understand what it means to be a Fable game. So, yeah.
Okay.
Rest in peace, Lionhead Studios. Maybe Playground Games will do a great job for Fable.
Okay. Well, yeah, rest in Lionhead Studios. Yeah. All right. Let's move on to Stalker 2. Now, I want to say that I am genuinely excited for Stalker 2 because I like the previous Stalker games. I believe they're on the PC. The Call of Pripyat and the something of Chernobyl. But all I did remember was playing Call of Pripyat. I'm sorry if I butchered the pronunciation of that word. It was a good game. What I really liked about it was the insane level of not customizations, but just it felt really D&D like, if you know what I mean. In a the open world setting.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember I was just so lost at that game. It was so the the amount of freedom that they give you in that game just made me so freaking lost. But it wasn't like the type of lost where you weren't like, you weren't just like, you know what, I don't know what the heck I'm doing, I'm done. But more like, what is this place? What is that place?
More like
It
you
was
could
good.
get lost in it, as in
Yeah,
you're
there
just
you
wanting
go.
to really swim in all of it.
Yeah, yeah. So what did you think about Stalker?
I know Chiki Briki Ruski.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty much it. That's all I know about Stalker the series.
Okay.
Very strong following on PC.
They do have a very strong following.
Yes, and that's honestly all I know. I really do wish I could say more about this series, but man, it's just not.
Mm-hmm.
It's not in my radar.
No, I get you. This was my personal bias. Not only
Mhm.
that, the game is very gray too. Another thing,
Yeah,
it's a very gray game.
it looks
Um,
depressing. It looks like one of those games where you gotta like take a swig of something
yeah,
in order for you to get through.
yeah. So well, yeah, they should make a complimentary vodka to come with that game.
Yeah, for sure.
So we got the next one. Here's a little interesting one that both of us might vibe to, which is Phantasy Star Online 2 New Genesis. Now, since Gotti, you were very critical of this game, especially when it was not being released in the West for a very
Mhm.
long time.
Yeah.
Why don't you steal the show?
So, not of this game, because of the fact that I believe this is a separate game. I believe Fantasy Star Online 2 New Genesis. Correct me if I'm wrong, but Sega did
You
say
are
that
right.
those two are kind of they're going to try to coexist with one another. I don't know much about New Genesis other than the trailer. I didn't read much into it, and that's because Sega, my dear boy, please. Why do you treat us like this? I don't understand. I was a huge Fantasy Star Online episode 1 and 2 Blue Burst sort of guy. I loved it so much. I still dream of that game. I love that game. But why? Why did you treat us this way with Fantasy Star Online 2? I'll never understand the whole like just outright shunning the West when it came
Right.
to porting over Fantasy Star Online 2. And again, that was one of those like moments many years ago with the Microsoft conference when they first showed off Fantasy Star Online 2. Maybe you remember, like I believe it was 1 year ago.
Right.
Where they showed off Fantasy Star Online 2 finally coming out here, and I was like, whoa, that's crazy. And me getting excited over that was just me going like, oh, that's right, that game existed. And then it finally dawned on me, oh, that's right. I hate that they treated us the way that they treated us. I really would have loved to have gotten into that game when like there was a zeitgeist around it in Japan. And I really did try to stick around with all the Japanese players. I would, join a specific ship that was only for like, us Westerners and things like that. And there were just many instances and moments of Sega trying to like kind of curb those sorts of players, trying to like make sure these
Right.
players didn't play too much. And gosh, it just sucked ass wanting to play Fantasy Star Online
Yeah.
2. And this company just outright going like, no, this isn't for you. This is for Japan. And I get it, but it still sucks.
Yeah.
So PSO2, look, I love PSO, but 2, you scorned me. You scorned me too hard. I don't know what New Genesis is. I'll look into it. If it's some form of like standalone thing that builds off of whatever story they might have told in Phantasy Star Online 2, maybe I'll check it out. But no, Phantasy Star Online 2. 1, you scorned me, and 2, you're free to play. I don't want to deal with that.
Yeah. I'm just gonna leave this out there. This may give some negative notations to people who are listening into this. Sega is a company that is pretty anti-American. They're pretty
Yeah.
anti-West. They have openly stated that they were several times, and even on live interviews as well as on magazines. So the reason why some products did not leave Sega or not leave Japan for a very long time was due to the fact that higher ups in Sega do not like the US and view the West as just the United States and actively go through loopholes to make sure that we don't receive the United States does not receive their products sometimes, and it does suck. And it also does suck to be the blunt end of politics or global politics and geopolitics, despite the fact that we're just gamers and just want to enjoy your products.
Yeah.
This may have people think in give mixed feelings to people out there, but I just want to leave that out there. And I do have mixed feelings against Sega as well. I did play PSO2 very extensively, no lie. So I'm just going to leave my opinions there and that, because I will sound very hypocritical about it. PSO2 did come to the West. I just fell out of PSO2 all the way back in like 2015-ish. The game became way too gotcha.
Oh my god! Well, look, I honestly didn't want to get into it, but if you're gonna bring it up, I'll get into
down that rabbit hole, man. No, let's go. We're down that rabbit hole.
All right, man. Look, I was into Phantasy Star Online too. I was. And not to bring up people that people that are listening to this podcast aren't gonna know, but I'm sure you remember our dear friend Suika. That guy, he was into fucking PSO2. And so because of that, I decided to give more of an effort to be in there. And I was enjoying it. I really went through a good chunk of that game. I even it's gross, but I was kind of getting into the whole scratch card thing, but at some point, I believe it was with the Miku collab that happened. That's when things started really going downhill for me, where it's just like, oh, okay, so it's just, okay, what collab are we doing this time? What sort of wedding outfit or swimsuit outfit or this or that are you going to nickel and dime us for? And you go into that game now, and it's just seeing a whole bunch of, you go into the world of Phantasy Star Online, and then you see a whole bunch of fucking anime characters that have nothing at all to do with the game, ruining the style and ruining the aesthetic of the game. And at that point, it's like, what's setting this apart from VR chat? This just looks like VR chat at this point.
Dude, I wouldn't be surprised if I say Uganda Knuckles just went by. In fact, it probably is. It's Sega. There's Knuckles.
I don't know. It puts me off. If for the people that just got into it now and are having fun, awesome. They're having a great time, and the gameplay of it, the kind of gameplay loop, it's pretty decent. It's cool. Great, voice acting for the Japanese, at least. I don't know much about if it even has English voice acting.
It does.
But, oh, wonderful. And, awesome. Good job for all of those that are really having a great time. For me, for someone who came from Phantasy Star Online 1 and 2, and even if they've come from Phantasy Star Online 1 and 2 and they still love this game, awesome. But I don't know. It just ain't for me. I don't like seeing these. I don't like seeing Madoka going around with Shinji and Godzilla. And, I don't like it. I don't like it. It's not for me.
Suit.
It's not Phantasy Star Online to me.
I mean, that's a fair argument. I'm not gonna lie. I'm a huge glamour kind of guy, but not with the collaboration stuff, but just with the cosmetics that they give you in game, where that's part of the game's lore, right?
And sorry to interrupt again, but with Phantasy Star Online, you had that sort of stuff. You would have Easter eggs of Samba de Amigo or like Sonic or, you know, other Sega properties because it was by Sonic Team.
Yeah.
And so you would have those little things here and there in the form of like either weapons or characters or like mags and things like that. But, you know, that was the limit. And
yeah.
if this were the case with any other series that is just starting, or with, let's say, in an alternate universe, this was Phantasy Star Online 1 and 2, or just, you know, Phantasy Star Online, then I'd be more receptive to it, more accepting of it. But having spent hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours in Phantasy Star Online 1 and 2 in my childhood, like, there's just this, like, kind of respect that I have for, like, that world.
I absolutely understand how you feel.
Yeah, so I just can't swallow all of these collabs.
Yeah, I'm gonna also put my opinion of how you feel out there as well. It's with a different game and a different series. For me, I feel that way with the Fate series, especially how I was extremely invested into the original one, Space Day Night, the visual novels, all the way back in like 2005, 2006. Watched a lot of the anime, watched a lot of, the Dean version of the anime is what they say. And they say it's crap, but I enjoyed it and I liked it. Played all the other games that came out, like, you know, Fate Extra CCC, and then Fate Grand Order comes along and just pretty much retcons almost everything that they did up until then, like the whole just for the sake of money, right? And they blatantly tell you to your face that we just want money, and the game is strong as ever. But I have mixed feelings about it because of, you know, there are certain characters that had an extremely long arc to develop their characteristics and their personalities, and to see that just get thrown down the drain because of the sake of, you know, them wanting to be a waifu with the new character just seems very scummy to me.
Yeah, we could definitely
I'm just gonna leave it at that. Yeah.
Yeah, we could take this and apply it to a whole other Japanese series, if you know what I'm talking about. But like,
yeah,
but that's just how it is. Unfortunately, like sometimes you just got to make money because otherwise the thing wouldn't even exist to begin with. You know?
Right. I mean, the new Genesis. A lot of people are calling it like a Realm Reborn, Final Fantasy 14 Realm Reborn, because there was a Final Fantasy 14 before the one that they had, but it was really bad, so they had to completely make the game from scratch. They're practically doing the same thing with the original PSO2. Probably, I mean, the game wasn't bad, or even remotely bad to begin with, but it did progressively get a little bit bad. But they're completely making the game anew. It seems like everything you had before, all the money, all the cosmetics, any time spent in the game, it's just going to be completely started anew.
Okay, so I think I'm starting to understand then. Like, so Phantasy Star Online 2 New Genesis is wiping the slate clean in the form of a whole new game.
Yes.
But Sega is also saying Phantasy Star Online 2, as you know it, is still going to be around if you want to, like, you know, keep all your stuff.
Yeah.
And that game will be there, but New Genesis will be kind of like we want to rework this. And
right. But let's be real. Let's be real. The original PSO2 is not going to stick by for much longer if it does kick off, right? So I don't. If it does kick off, I don't see PSO2 living its life more than even a year, probably.
It depends. I mean, it depends on all those collabs, dude. Like,
I collabs are not my thing either, so I feel you on that. I understand if it's done like maybe once in a while. Other than that, it's like now you're just trying to make money. Like, for example, Final Fantasy 14, the two collabs that they ever did ever since like 2000. When was the game made? I think like 2012 ish, somewhere around there, up until like 2020. Like, it was just Monster Hunter and Nier Automata.
Yeah, like those felt meaningful. Like I'm just outside looking in with this, but those looked like meaningful, like collabs. If it's a game that has a collab every week, it's whatever. But with that game, it was like, hey, not only are we doing a collab with Monster Hunter, but it'll like span into their game as well. And it just felt super thought out.
Yeah, like the lore connected with the main game's lore, right?
Yeah, and how crazy is that? A Capcom game and a Square Enix game, and they were like, what a perfect, wonderful collaboration that was between the two.
Yeah,
that was really neat.
Speaking of collabs, I know we're kind of still a little bit off the rails, but I just want to put this in there. The most recent collab that they ever did in any game that just had me in complete fanboy mode was the Witcher 3 collab that they did for Monster Hunter. It was to me it was gorgeously well done. Like they even changed the entire game's engine to feel like The Witcher. So like how would I say it? You still played like your movements were still Monster Hunter, but you still had attacks that you could do like from The Witcher, like Igni or Axie or stuff like that. Or you could walk up to like a dead monster and start examining it. Like, oh well, we're hunting for this monster, but since Geralt doesn't know how to use what is it? Those bugs that lead you to the monster.
Things.
Yeah, he's like, all right, well, let's just look up this dead thing. Okay, it's a herbivore. Okay, it was bit here. It must be this type of monster. Like that. I was fanboying the whole time. It was so good. Yeah. Anyways, so now we're gonna jump back on the rails. We're done with our very critical opinions of Phantasy Star Online 2 and Sega in general. We apologize for that. Unapologetically apologize for sharing our opinions. But let's move on to the last but not least, and the biggest the cash cow of Microsoft is let's go to Halo. I know Scotty, you have a lot of mixed feelings, so I'm going to throw this to you first.
Okay, so here we are, finally, for the first time, seeing Halo Infinite gameplay. What are we gonna see? Oh wow, it's open world. You can just go anywhere. Oh look, it's the Warthog, and it has like gas canisters in the back. Is that gonna be a weak point? Who knows? But man, that's pretty neat. I love seeing that Warthog. Oh my god, he just hook-shotted onto that brute. Oh, you can rappel everywhere and like hook shot off of things. That's so cool. Oh, the jackals are back. They just threw that suicidal grunt into the air. Oh my god, what a wonderful, cool looking. What was that pop up? Hold on a sec. What's with all this weird pop? Oh my god, that brute's face, it's not finished. Why does he look so sad? Who is this guy talking to me at the end? Why does he think he's so threatening? He looks terrible. What is going on here? Why didn't we see any of the Covenant? We saw their ships. Why didn't we see them? What the heck? All this time for this? What the heck, 343? So, yeah, I think that's what most people take away from that sort of reveal.
Right.
I mean, look, it's Halo. You're going to get that Halo gameplay. If you're a fan of that, there's nothing out there that replicates the Halo feel.
Absolutely.
So that's going to be there. The looks, I personally don't care for the looks. I think it's whatever. Like, if it looks like that, sure, whatever. I don't care. As long as I'm having fun. But there is something to say about when you're out there saying, we have the most consistently powerful console, and when you're saying, or not saying, but when you're charging what I would assume to be $400 to $500 for this box, and saying that it's going to be one of the most powerful things, dude, you better show me something interesting or something that makes me feel like I paid money's worth for like something that looks good. Because as I see it right now, you look at PS4's Swan Song being Ghost of Tsushima, that game looks incredible. And here you have a launch title for, like most launch titles are never, ever, ever representative of like the console and what it's capable of.
Absolutely. Like, I mean, Ratchet and Clank was a good example.
Was it? I mean, that looks good
It
still.
looked great. No,
I thought you were talking about Ratchet and Clank and not this new Ratchet and Clank, whatever they ended up calling this one. I thought you were talking about the PS4 Ratchet and Clank. I guess that wasn't a launch title.
It was a good. I mean, don't get me wrong. It was great looking. It's a good game.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying it's bad at all, but comparatively how far we've become with PS4,
yeah.
I mean, go. Sorry, continue.
Yeah, so like, I get it. Like, I personally don't care for it, but I can see why other people would, because it's like, come on, I just bought this new box, and it's supposed to be powerful as hell, and it doesn't even look nearly as good as like a last gen game. What the heck?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, they really, really need to show that multiplayer section soon, because otherwise people are just going to keep roasting this game, and it'll be like unrecoverable by the time it gets to like launch.
Yeah.
We're just going to keep making fun of that poor brute.
No, you've seen the meme.
Yeah, they really need to scrub people's brains of that and show them like, here's Firefight 2.0 or some shit. I don't know, but something cool.
Yeah. My take on it is I do absolutely understand how a lot of people are feeling about the game, especially when they've been told time and time again of how the Xbox Series X is going to be the most powerful console out there. Not only that, but after the criticisms that were given about the graphics on the game, it seems like that the Microsoft said, "Oh well, the game is still in development. The game is still in development, and not only that, but." Like you said, it's the first the launch title is it's not supposed to look that good, but that kind of goes into contradictory of what they said, in the past about how the Series X is going to be a very powerful console. So, I don't know what they're playing at here. I don't know what their how their marketing team is working out, but it does seem a little bit. I get it. I get it, and I'm agreeing, but I'm not gonna lie, I have a huge bias towards Halo. Or I absolutely love Halo, and I'm so into Halo that I buy their books and I buy some of their comics.
You even changed your name to Halo, if I recall correctly.
Which when
Doesn't it say it right there on your driver's license? Halo? It was probably a Photoshop or something. I
don't know. But I really do like Halo. I'm very heavily invested in their lore as well. But I do understand what they mean. But not only do I have a bias towards Halo because I love it so much. But not only that, the graphics, as you said, didn't really bother me. The gameplay looked pretty nice. The engine, as you said, that is irreplaceable, was very nice as well. The hook shot, I don't know how to feel about the hook shot. I'm not gonna lie. It seems like all the AAA games are just throwing in hook shots for the sake of like, I guess competition. Like, have you noticed that like every single, like not every single, but a good amount of AAA games out there are just throwing in hook shots, right?
I don't know. I feel like that was a trend like back when Titanfall 2 was like a thing.
Yeah, Titanfall was a thing too as well. I mean, you have it in Ghost of Tsushima, you had it in Doom, you're getting it in Halo. Maybe it is just a me thing then. I'm just noticing something that that I'm just thinking too much. But I just do the only mixed feelings I do have about the game is the hook shot. That's it really. Other than that, it just looks great to me. I'm kind of a sucker for open world, though I am slowly getting tired of open world stuff because but it looks great to me. As for the graphics part, let's hope that Microsoft steps up their game. Let's hope that they will. It will look a lot different in the end results, right?
It's very rare to have like a patch or update that just outright says we're making the game look better, But I really do hope that's the case. They can say, "Oh, it's still in development," all they want, but dude, you have like 4 months left, really.
Pretty much.
And like, dude, that's not much time. And with their supposed plans that apparently Halo Infinite is just going to be like a 10-year-long game or something. As in they'll keep it going for 10 years.
Hopefully not like the Master Chief Collection.
Yeah, I think it really will end up hopefully needing one of those, like, we're going to make the game look better sort of patches, because they don't have much time. I think this also kind of has a lot to do with how they want... actually, I'm not sure. I was going to say how they kind of want like a parity between like Xbox One and Xbox Series X. They want all their Xbox One stuff working on Series X. They want to make sure that everyone who's on One and One X and all that aren't missing out initially.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think they have any plans on having Infinite be on X. I mean, not on... Which I hate their fucking names. They're so stupid.
Series X.
On Xbox One X. I don't think Halo Infinite is going to be on that. So again, I don't know why they're going so low bar on the graphical side. But yeah, we'll see.
I mean, it seems like your argument just now was like they're focusing on how much content that they can deliver with the Series X in and of the console in and of itself, rather than the individual games content that they can pump out. Like, in this case, Halo Infinite.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can see that. I can definitely see that. I mean, yeah, those are our thoughts on Halo Infinite. It like I said, for me, I have a big bias against Halo, and then Scotty over here does have somewhat mixed feelings towards that game. So the last part of our segment, we're just going to talk about the new game releases or the games that we're playing currently. Let me go first. I am playing 2 games right now.
No,
one of them,
you're not. I am interrupting you. I am interrupting you right now. There is only one game that we are playing, and that game is guess the game that surprised me at the Microsoft conference or presentation. Go ahead, guess. You got the list right there.
Okay, let's see. I would say Fable.
Trick question, asshole. You didn't put Tetris Effect in here. You know how much I love Tetris Effect, and you decided to just gloss right over it, not even add it to the list.
You didn't like. I didn't even know you liked Tetris Effect. Get out of here.
How dare you? How dare you?
No, let's talk about Tetris
When I saw Tetris Effect connected, I was like, oh my goodness, here it is. Microsoft once again surprising me. Because one, I totally forgot that Xbox did not have Tetris Effect. I knew that Tetris Effect was a PlayStation exclusive for some time, mainly to kind of tout the PSVR functionality of it as well. VR was a big thing for Tetris Effect. And then I remember that later on it was going to Steam, or not Steam, Epic Games Store. And then after some exclusivity there, it was going to go on Steam. But I totally forgot. No Xbox. So to see it there made me go like, oh, that's right. But then also, once they showed off the big major thing for this game, or like for this update, basically, it was the one thing I truly wanted from Tetris Effect, which was co-op and multiplayer support.
Oh.
And yeah, the way it's going to do co-op is really cool. So you'll have you'll have your 4 like individual like people playing on one screen. Each has their own grid, and then at some point you can go ahead and like unite all of them together, and you'll have a really wide open like field to drop all of your pieces at the same time. So that's going to be very fun. I love Tetris Effect. I love Tetsuya Mitsuguchi's all of his games. They're all wonderful. So yep, can't wait for that. That was my big like awesome, good job Microsoft for like getting me all hyped up again. They never fail to do that. But it's never been for a first party game. It's only ever been for a multi-platform game, unfortunately.
I mean, yeah. I didn't realize how passionate you were about the game. I mean, next time you can, just add that in script, and I
No,
can, I
I'm
can.
not. No,
Why not? No,
because
why not?
no, because no. I
No,
want to have moments
no.
like these where you feel terrible for not adding it on there.
No, I don't want to feel terrible.
Too bad. Speaking of
Yeah.
feeling terrible, new games that we're playing right now. What are you doing, Taco?
I'm playing two games. Well, 99% of one game and 1% of the other game. It's very easy to guess. Yeah, first one, Paper Mario. I'm literally just inching across that game. It's I don't know how to feel about that game. It feels
I know how you
so.
feel about that game. Writing, pretty good. Presentation, pretty good. Uh, the music, pretty good.
Mhm.
The combat, phew, I wish
Yeah,
I could skip every fucking battle in this game. It
the little
sucks.
the little spin combat thing. Yeah, yeah. You just gotta like rotate. You're like freaking playing like a Rubik's cube kind of thing. Even though it's not a cube,
Yeah.
it's a freaking cylinder or circle. Yeah. It. I mean, I guess Nintendo is trying to try things something new, which is good on them. But yuck.
Yeah. I've seen
Um,
plenty of people going through it, and I will admit, like, writing's great, tends to typically be great.
uh-huh.
Music's good, presentation's good, but
Hmm.
every single person I've seen play this game always wants to skip the battles because, man, they're just so pointless in my opinion. The way I see it, it's like, why even have it? What's the point? Just let me go through the game without the battles at that point
Yeah.
because it
I
really
wish
doesn't
they
add
can
up
like
too much.
yeah, I wish they can bring back the one that they had in Thousand Year Door, where it's like a theater, and depending on your performance in the battle, and if you start sucking, then everyone in the crowd start booing and just starts throwing things at you, and you take damage. Oh, I love that.
Yeah, you and 99% of the people that love Paper Mario.
Yeah, fair enough. But any other criticisms for you, or not criticisms, just criticisms, but any other thoughts or
uh,
opinions?
I mean, Paper Mario, I just look. The last Paper Mario I enjoyed was Super Paper Mario, and that was me understanding that Super Paper Mario was different and it was trying to do things differently. So I
Mm,
was open to them doing things differently, thinking that, well, they couldn't possibly do it different yet again in the next one. And then they did, and it wasn't great. So again, I'm just scratching my head as to why they would once again do something different again and not just listen to the player base and go, hey, maybe we should not fill this game up with toads.
yeah, yeah, I get you. Moving on to the next game we're playing. I don't know if you're playing it too, Scotty, but I'm playing Ghost of Tsushima.
Man,
And this game is, it's such a treat. It is a treat. It's like you order a dessert, like a small, you're like a cheesecake factory, and you're like just a cheesecake, but they just bring the whole entire freaking, just
oh,
the whole thing. It is so freaking gorgeous. It's so beautiful. And I'm Japanese. This is coming from a Japanese guy. I freaking love this game. And there are some criticisms of people saying, "Oh, well, this is a American studio, and Americans are not allowed to make this game." And I'm like, I'm Japanese. This game is freaking awesome. This game is awesome. This game is so on point of Japanese culture, of Japanese nature, of how it was done, how the warrior code that they have, Bushido.
mm,
And not only that, but the voice actors they've chosen in the Japanese voices are very famous voice actors that are in a lot of anime. For example, Jin's Japanese voice actor is Zoro from One Piece. Um, and his uncle, his voice actor, is known to do Snake from Metal Gear Solid. The writer from the Fate Zero series, the Ozka is his name, Ozka-san.
mhm.
He's They just have, and their voice acting is really good even in Japanese, even though the lip sync is not there, but the voice acting quality just makes up for it, right? And the way they spoke during that time, they used language of that time. They used like, for example, like during that time in Japanese, I I wouldn't say Kamakura, even though the game takes place during the Kamakura period, but in Edo period, when people were like warriors refer to themselves, they would say sessha instead of like ore or watashi. They say sessha.
That is a lot of research.
That
into that.
they did, and not only that, but I remember my sister was watching one of my streams, and the way he pulls the bow is so reminiscent of Japanese specific, very very specific Japanese style archery, kyudo. Kyudo just means it's just Japanese archery, but it's a completely different way of how they pull the bow as to how Western bows are pulled, because of how where you draw the bow is actually not in the middle of center of the bow, but from the bottom of the bow. So the way he draws the bow is just extremely just spot on. My sister saw that and she was like, I mean, my sister does kyudo professionally, by the way, and she was like, "That I don't know what to say. This is too perfect. Like I just cannot fathom the fact that this whole team of Westerners could just make this game that's just so spot on an extremely alien culture to them, you know."
It reminds me of when Pixar had done Coco.
Coco. Yeah, yeah.
And so, I'm going through the movie of Coco, and you know me, like, I don't care who makes what. Anybody, it's all the same effing hunk of rock. If you want to make a story about, some other fucking place, if it's good, it's good. Doesn't matter where you're from.
Absolutely.
But when I saw the styling of beds that they had, like very cheap, thin, kind of wire-ish sort of a bed rest or headrest for the beds, made out of metal. It's the sort of thing that I've never seen anywhere else but like Latin America. And when I saw it there, when I saw it in the movie, I was like, oh, okay, they were there. They understood. Like, they did their research. They knew how those sorts of people like live in certain like areas and things like that. So they put in the work, and it seems like this was what, Sucker Punch? Yeah. Was it Sucker Punch? Who did this?
What Ghost of Tsushima? Sucker Punch.
Yeah.
The Sly Cooper. Yeah.
Yeah. So like they really did. They did above and beyond when it comes to that sort of thing. Like they would probably fool anyone into going like, a Western company did this? That's crazy. So
yeah,
good job to them.
I remember like my Twitter timeline. I have a lot of Japanese people that I follow as well, and they're drooling over this game. Like it's the fastest selling PS4 game that's in Japan. It sold out in Japan. It got a perfect score in Japan. It's just everyone in over there is drooling over the game.
Did
it's
Famitsu
perfect.
give it a 40?
They gave it a 40.
Wow.
Yeah, Famitsu gave it a 40, and 40 out of 40. That's the perfect score. And this is the third Western game that ever got a 40 out of 40 from Famitsu.
That's cool.
The first two were Skyrim and GTA 5. But
we're not too different. We're not too different, are we?
But the game is perfect. And the only criticism that I heard when it came to how it was a little bit misconceptualized, or something that's a misconception in the game, and I didn't even notice until this one YouTuber, the Japanese YouTuber, pointed it out. And even then, he's like, I don't even care, because it still immerses well with the game. Is that there's one outfit called the Ronin attire, and the YouTuber specifically pointed out, saying that this type of outfit did not exist in the Kamakura period. It existed in the Edo period, because this type of weaving was still not. I think he said, like, it was still not really invented, but not achieved. This type of precision weaving to wear an outfit that was that stylish, even if you're like a lord, or even because the protagonist is like, kind of like the daughter, or not, did I say daughter? Jeez. the son of a lord, or the son of the lord of a castle. So therefore, he's pretty wealthy. Grew up in a pretty wealthy lifestyle, but the outfit was not Edo period is way, way, way later. Like 1600s Japan, right? 1600s, 1700s. And Kamakura period is 13th century Japan, and yeah, it's and not only the biggest thing that I took away from the game that they did their research was the way they okay, so when you call a Mongolian, it's just Mongolian, right? And even in Japanese, like an average, when you call somebody a Mongol or a Mongolian, they would just say Mongol, right? Like they pronounce it katakana, but they will specifically use a specific derogatory word to describe a Mongol that was reminiscent of that time, and it was Moko. Moko, the kanji just means ancient barbarians, or the empire of just barbarians, right? But during that time, it was a specific derogatory word to describe a Mongolian, of the Japanese person, and it was, and to me that just threw me off. It's like they did their research. Geez, you know.
It seems like you could keep gushing about this game for at least another hour.
But I'm just
now
you put the brakes right there. Yeah, the game is great. I have no qualms with the game. This game is a near perfect score for me. I love it. That's it. Anything else you want to add on to that, Scotty?
What have I been playing? I'm playing Diablo 3.
You are?
Yeah, I've been playing a lot of that. That's a fun game. I always love going into a series that has always had like a good pedigree that I just never bothered with. And then all of a sudden I go in and it's like, oh, heck yeah, now I get why this is good. So I've been enjoying that. And that's pretty much it. It's been pretty light with gaming.
Pretty light?
I've mostly been spending my time watching Space Brothers.
Okay.
That is it's an anime. It's got 99 episodes, and we have 12 left. So I'm having a good time with that. It's been out for many years, but I'm just finally getting around to it.
Yeah, at least it's not One Piece.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. You're not playing anything else. You're not watching anything else. Just Space Brothers and Diablo 3.
That's it.
All right. Well, that seems like that's it for this month's or this time's podcast. Thank you for listening in on us, you guys. And yeah, we're just gonna end the show here.
Bye.
Bye. See you guys around.